Are the Qs primed to pop? I'm Jill Malandrino with the Streets Options Profits.
And I'm Scott Redler, Chief Strategic Officer at T3Live.com.
Before we get into our Options Profits play of the day, I want to point out something really interesting in the S&P, that technology comprises 20% of the weighting, whereas financials are only 13.5%. So before we talk about the Qs, we absolutely have to look at the S&P because this is where the growth is. This is where the momentum is.
Yeah, and right now the S&P is knocking on the door of that October high. We've been coiling for a while. We've been talking about this technical pattern with a series of lower highs and higher lows, and right now we're breaking above those lower highs, and we look good. With today's up open, I do think that we could contend with that 1292 S&P high and perhaps break above it, and I do think that's interesting fact about the QQQs because if that's the case, there could be a lot more bang for the buck right there.
So if we could take a look at the overall chart with the SPX, there's some really interesting patterns that kind of correlate to the Qs as well.
Okay, so let's look at the S&P first. We'll look at the daily. If you look right here where we're at, we broke above this mini downtrend. Just to give a quick recap, here's the October low, the November low, the December low. We just broke above the downtrend. Here's 1292. We close above 1292. We see an easy spot to about 1320, 1340. And then if you look at the monthly chart, you will see that there's really nothing in its way above this little wedge type pattern up until last year's high of about 1370, which could be a second or third quarter target once we do get to 1320, 1340.
Now moving along to the Qs, we see a pattern that is relatively similar to this. The Qs, look, if they continue to catch a bid on this S&P momentum, and don't forget this week we're in Vegas at the CES, the Consumer Electronics Show convention. There's some positive news that's coming out of there. If the Qs can catch that bid and break that 5960 level, this can be an explosive trade.
I do think so, and you're getting some participation across the board, especially the mega caps. You're seeing some friskiness in Microsoft. You're seeing some stuff in Cisco. Intel's been great. You see it across tech. So if you look here at the Qs, you will see it did break above this wedge. So short term, it looked like it's on its way. You do have resistance up in this 59 to 60 area, but on the daily chart, it's not telling you the story. On the monthly chart, if we get going, you will see that there's really nothing in the way once we clear this 60, probably to almost 70 in the Qs, and that'll be stocks having major moves, so you better be aware and involved.
And we are going to wrap this up with the options trade with Skip Rashke of Options Profits, and we're going to look at a vertical call spread out into April, which is a little bit later dated, but that's where you put in that nice cap with the risk. You also cap the reward, but that's what it's all about. It's controlled risk when we're trading options. Don't forget to catch Scott at the end of every day on Options Profits, recapping the charts for us.
Have a great day.